Hey everyone, welcome back with me, Valerie Williams of Dimensional Talent Streams. Welcome. We are in the month of February and we are just moving along this year. Well, this week I wanted to come on and no special guest this week. I wanted to end this series that I have been doing on what is your new in 2022. And I wanted to end that series the last 3 weeks. We have had some phenomenal guests on. We have had Lena Jones. We have had Amber out of Florida with Beauty for You. We've had Amy Aarons of Holistic Wellness out of California. And so I wanted to just kind of end this series today, this week. So let's get into it and talk about, again, what is your new in 2022? I really want to kind of look at and defining that new, because like I said, and when we've talked to guests in the past, the last 3 weeks, we kind of relate that new as to, we're now in the year of 2022, and we always have New Year resolutions. And sometimes our New Year's resolutions work out and we follow through and we're able to accomplish what our New Year's resolution was, and sometimes we're not. And so I kind of wanted to do a little mini series based on that, hence the term, What's Your New in 2022? And so I want to come on and ask you guys, have you defined what your new in 2022 is yet? If you haven't, what are you waiting for? We're now in February, it's February the 3rd. What's going to be your new in 2022? Is there, set a goal for yourself. Whether my platform is pretty much on business entrepreneurship, those looking for an online opportunity. So for business owners, what is that thing within your business that you want to improve on, or that you personally haven't implemented, or maybe you have kind of given somebody else a task and you now want to kind of learn a little bit about that particular area that you may have phased out for somebody else to do. What is that new in 2022 that you can really begin to grow yourself all the more, increase, expand, and multiply yourself all the more, even within your business? And if you're not a business owner, doesn't it is okay, but what is going to be your new? Maybe you launched a new product or a service within your business, and now you are trying to figure out some marketing strategies on how to get the word out there about your new product. Perfect new for 2022. As business owners, we are always daily looking to continue to get our name, our brand, our goods, our products, our services out there. So perfect. How can you improve on your branding? How can you improve on your ethics within your business? Business ethics is just as crucial as making that initial sale. And when I say business ethics is just as crucial, I'm talking about if you're going to be meeting a client, whether it's virtually, whether it's in person, if you say you're going to be there at a particular time, be there at a particular time. The point of the matter with business ethics is following through on what you said you were going to do. And if you're not able to do it, reach out to that client and prospect and say to them, hey, this is what's going on. I'm not going to be able to fulfill my commitment, or I need to, reschedule your appointment or what have you. But the point is to sharpen our business ethics and follow through on what we say we're going to do. That's so huge for me. If you're explaining, if you're working on an issue, it could be a technical issue. I am not the most technically savvy, and that is why I phase my technical stuff out. Or if I have a technical piece that's more involved, I do have somebody that I can reach out to. But just as another example, following through on my point of business ethics. If you are working on an issue and it's not your strongest suit, and you're corresponding with them via email and not by phone, make sure that the both of you are clear and understanding the conversation and what one another is trying to articulate so that you can get that issue resolved. And sometimes a phone call is so needed. Picking up the phone can save so much back and forth. And I know we're all, we're in a virtual world right now. We're doing a lot of stuff online. And a phone call can go such a long way. I know we like to text and we like to email, but a phone call can go such a long way and can add such a personal touch. So don't forget the business ethics within your business. And even if you're not in business, still, you're still receiving goods and services. You're still promoting yourself in some capacity. Remember your ethics. Remember your ethics and your integrity. So I'm going to kind of defer down to my notes here so that I am hitting on all bullet points and keeping myself on task. And so I'm going to come off of my soapbox on business ethics, but that could be an example of a new thing that you could have in 2022 that you may want to improve on and go such a long way with our customer service. So how is your new going to be different from your previous years? How is your new going to be different from your previous years? Is the new thing that you want to do in 2022 something that you have from last year that you didn't achieve that is now you want to carry over into this year? Or is it totally a brand new? So questions that I'm throwing out to you to kind of chew on and meditate on. In your previous years, did your new, even if did you have a new, and if you had a new in previous years, did it work? And if your new didn't work in previous years, why didn't it work? Will you take that new that you may have had in previous years and revisit that new in this year and really try to complete that new and have it as an accomplishment? So, food for thought. Are you learning from your previous year's mistakes? Are you learning from your previous year's mistakes and even changes that maybe you could have avoided that you didn't? Are you learning from mistakes that you have made? And I will later on in this presentation, I will answer all of those questions. Personally, for me, I will answer all those questions for you guys so that you can kind of see bit more of what I'm talking about and drive this point home of what's your new in 2022. How can you pivot from your previous years? How can you pivot from your previous years? And how do we deal with our failures? How do we deal even with some of the successes that we may have had so far in this year and in previous years? So those are some questions I will give you guys for food for thought. And now I'm going to kind of come and answer those questions that I posed for you. So what is going to be my new in 2022? Well, I already got jump started and my new in 2022 actually probably I want to say began in 2021, probably around October, between October, the last quarter of 2021, and it's kind of carried over into 2022. And what I mean by that was the last quarter I had a group of goals that I wanted to complete for 2021. And I knew that it was a lot, and that I probably would not have been able to get it all completed by the ending of 2021, but it was okay so long as I implemented and started and kept progressing in each of those areas that I wanted to accomplish. And so I knew they were going to carry over, but my thing was if I don't complete them by 2021, so long as I have implemented them and I'm keeping and progressing until they are completed and are accomplished. And so some of those things that were new for me or that, I started in the last quarter of 2021 was tax code. I started a course in tax code probably I want to say maybe early mid 2021, but that kind of turned into tax planning for me. So I started a course on tax code, and then, like I said, that started in mid to early 2021. It carried over into last quarter of 2021 because I wanted to start my tax planning early and not wait until April 15th or the beginning of April or the tail end of March and then be scrambling. I wanted to have all my I's dotted, T's crossed, ducks in a row, and really take my time and be detailed with my tax planning. And so that was, and then having to gather all of my documentation for, to be able to present to my CPA. That was a big goal for me in the last quarter of 2021 that's carrying over into this first quarter of 2022. Where am I with that goal? I've completed pulling in all of my documents, got all my documents together. And so now I just need to complete a spreadsheet so that I can hand that off to my CPA. But that was a big project, a lot of information, documentation that I had to pull in, but that is complete. It's phase one of that. So phase two is now getting that all on a spreadsheet to hand off to my CPA. So that was one new for 2022 that carried over from 2021 that I really wanted to accomplish. Another goal that I had was completing my book. I have a book out called The Ancient Paths of the Heart, and it has been progressing slowly. Like, I have audios on the book, videos on the book, but I needed to get that in written form. And so I had to take all of my audios and get them transcribed, go through a series of editing them, and then producing the final project. With that being said, I did an excerpt on my book of The Ancient Paths of the Heart, and I just completed the ebook in its entirety of The Ancient Paths of the Heart. So very excited about that. So that was one of my new in 2022. Another project that I have has to deal with, I've always wanted to do a conference. And this is a new for 2022. I've been carrying this desire to do a conference, whether it's virtual or whether it's, a physical in live tangible conference. And I got a download of a conference that I was going to do. And I just began to write that out, type that out, that download that I was getting. And lo and behold, I've got the name of the conference, all of the details of what's going to happen each day of the conference, speakers and dates of the conference. And so I'm very excited about that. It's going to be online. Stay tuned for more information on that. It will be in April, spring, right before spring, but as the days are getting longer and so forth. And the name of the conference is Business, Fitness, and Wellness Expo. Business, Fitness, and Expo. It will be tailored around business fitness. It will be tailored around how to, as I said, get your business fit, what that looks like. And it will incorporate some different things on how to get your business fit. So stay tuned for more information on that, but that will be coming in April, and it will be a 3-day conference. Very excited about that. So that is one of my major big things that's new for me in 2022. So let's get back to some of these questions that I threw at you guys earlier. Let's see. Did your new in previous years work, and why did it work? So my new in previous years, I can't remember my news prior to 2021. And all I can think about is last quarter of 2021. And that's probably because it's so fresh and some of those things have carried over into 2022. Yes, I'm going to say for the most part, yes, because they were my goal with those news in previous years was I knew that because of the involvement of those projects that they were going to carry over into 2022, which was fine. I just wanted to get them implemented and keep progressing until those projects were completed. So the answer to that question, did my new in previous years work, and why? I'm going to say yes. The reason why they worked is because I kept moving. I kept the ball moving because the projects were not something that I was going to get done in a day. They were very involved. They were very tedious, very detailed. And so each day I would look at my projects and have a sense of where I was in those projects as far as them being completed and so forth. And so I just kept diligent. They worked for me because I kept diligent each day. I had my eyes on those projects, what I needed to get done, what I was not able to get done. If I wasn't able to get done, did I need to reach out to somebody to help me get it done? And what have you. So it worked for me because I kept the ball moving. I kept it moving and progressing and implemented stages with my projects. So that is why it worked for me. Are you learning from previous year's mistakes and changes uh, that I could have avoided? Answer to that question, I'm going to say yes, because I am always wanting to learn. I always embrace being a student. Now, sometimes I will admit, like anybody, there are times when it gets frustrating. Like I was working on a technical piece today, and it's a part of my new in 2022 that I didn't mention, and that is making some changes to my website and specifically the domain, and wanting to add some services on my business website. I'm not a technical person, and so when you talk to me about servers and menus and all of that, instantly I get tense. I get tense, but I have to kind of rein it in and say, okay. And I instantly get overwhelmed. If it's terminology, techie terminology I'm not familiar with, I instantly tense up. And that's a weakness I have. And I have to kind of catch myself, rein it in, and look to who can help me in my weakness, who can direct me, who can, kind of point the direction and say, go here, or do this, do that, in that particular area. So for me, I don't know if it's so much more of as a mistake, but I would more say a weakness. I will say, a mistake that I have made relating to the tech portion and that goal of making some changes to my website was initially when I built the website, it took me more time than I would have wanted to work on the website because I'm not technically savvy in building websites. And so it took me a little bit more longer of a time. And I should have reached out to my tech folks a lot sooner, but instead I was in there wrestling with it and fighting with it and trying to do it and da 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 da. And when I would reach a frustration point, I'd step away and leave it, go to something else, and then the next day try to tackle it again, da 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 da. And I did make progress, however, not as quickly as I wanted to. And so I would say that would probably be a mistake for me that I needed to learn from in previous years and take note of now that I am trying to go back into my website and do some updates and make some changes because things have evolved within my business. So taking that into note, that would be an area of a mistake that I could learn from and possibly avoid with my new in 2022. How do we pivot from previous years? I would say attitude is one of the major things, our attitude. And again, this goes back to our business ethics because business ethics is our attitude and how we communicate and our integrity. And I would say that those would be, that applying the business ethics, that attitude, that integrity, how we are communicating is how we pivot from previous years. Being able to look at our mistakes and learning from those mistakes so that we are aware of even our own weaknesses in those mistakes, so that when we are coming up against that weakness again or in the future, we know how to handle that weakness and not so much try to avoid it or be defensive about that weakness, but we can embrace that weakness and know how to handle that weakness and come out productive within the midst of that weakness. And I'm speaking to myself when I'm saying that, and I'm using my technical weakness as an example, because when I've got to build websites, It is a project. It stretches me, it challenges me, and everything within me and my whole ethics, is tested when it comes to, deep, intense technical stuff like building a website. And I built my website with the aid of my tech folks. How do we deal with the failure? And I think I just pointed to that and stated that very clearly. With failure is going back to our business ethics, going back to our character, going back to our integrity, going back and looking at our emotions in the midst of it and not letting our emotions, our character, our integrity, our communication get the best of us in a negative capacity, but being able to embrace our weaknesses, like I mentioned, and understanding our weaknesses and being comfortable in our weaknesses, like I said, so that we can come out on the other side of that weakness with being productive, increased, and multiplied, and being able to teach out of our own weakness. How do we deal with our successes? Humility. One word with our successes and dealing with them is being humble, being so humble. Pride comes before a fall. Pride comes before a fall. So I would say, how do we deal with successes is being humble and understanding, remembering and having between your eyes your early years of your struggle, your earlier years of when you were not as successful, and just being humble, extending grace to people who may not be as successful as you. And again, the business ethics pulls into there your own attitude, your own disposition, and how you treat people and how you communicate with people, and following through on things that you may have said to people or even promised people. So again, back to that business ethics that we cannot get away from, that is really lifestyle ethics. And then looking further at my notes to keep me on task, I have share my first business experience. What was my drive during this time? Share my first year's business experience. Okay, so my first year's business experience was frustrating. I'm gonna be honest. My first year in business was frustrating. I had many years, I mean, many days because of the frustration where I felt like I was not being productive, like I was not getting anything done. There were days I cried. There were days I pulled out my hair. There were days I wanted to simply give up. I wanted to eat tacks, bullets. I wanted to eat bricks because I just felt so unproductive and frustrated during my first year within business. And how did I get through that time? Shoo, how did I get through that time? I would say I was determined that I was going to have my own business. I was determined, it was determination that I was going to have my business. So it was determination. Number two, it was my belief system that I believed in what I was doing. I believed in building my business, which is what my first year in business was building. It was getting getting the basic things done for your business, like your website and your email and some of that basic technical stuff, and your phone lines and all of that, and just some of those basic things to get your appearance and your branding and all of that together. And so it was a lot of building for me that first year, but I believed in what I was doing in the midst of the frustration. I believed in it and I was determined, and those were the two major things that drove me during that first year of being in business, as I so believed in what I was doing. And why did I believe in what I was doing? Because I knew the value in what my business was offering to not only myself, and it was important to know the value of what my business was offering, not only for others, but for myself. And so that is what got me through during My first year in business, that was frustrating. And looking back at it now, I just remember it was like I had to take a deep breath. Well, even when I think about that first year, it was like, ooh, because I remember. And do I want to revisit that? No. What would I do differently to not make it as frustrating? I would again probably say, back to the weaknesses again. If there's something you're not strong at and good at, don't sit and wait until you are frustrated and ready to throw in the towel, because you're wasting time. Your time is not being productive. Da da da. You need reach out to somebody with expertise in that area where you have your weakness. And I was so green, like there's entrepreneurship. One of my mentors says entrepreneurship is for everybody, but entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Entrepreneurship is for everybody, but not everybody is for entrepreneurship. And what do I mean by that? Because entrepreneurship is going to challenge you in every single area of your inner and outer being. It's going to challenge your integrity. It's going to challenge your attitude. It's going to challenge the way you communicate. It's going to challenge on, are you doing what you said you're going to do? Are you going to it's going to challenge your organization. It's going to challenge everything within you, and things in you that you didn't even know you had or were going to be a challenge for you. And so that is what I mean by that. Share what's being developed in you, what was being developed in you during that time, during that first year. What was being developed in me during that first year of business was all of what I mentioned. Is business ethics was being developed in me, like character, how I was communicating, my attitude, even in the midst of frustration, even when things weren't going as quick enough, as fast enough, or how I would have liked them on my timetable. How was I communicating? What was my attitude in the midst of it? Could I still say please and thank you and be gracious and be humble in the midst of those disappointments, or when things weren't going as quickly as I wanted? Um, Also, what was being developed in me, and this is kind of a fresh revelation that I'm getting as I'm sharing with you, is to embrace your weakness, to embrace your weaknesses. Your weaknesses, it's okay. We all have things that we're good at. We all have things that we're not so great at, but embracing those weaknesses so that you can begin to understand what to do when those weaknesses start to pop up, so that you can understand, okay, I'm getting a little defensive because I'm not comfortable. My weakness is raising its head. You can begin to rein yourself in and know how to handle yourself because of that weakness beginning to manifest. And you know how to handle yourself because of that weakness, because you understand your weakness and you know what to do in the midst of your weakness. Um, so that was what was being developed, and I'll probably say it's still being developed in me, because it's a lifestyle. Entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. You live and breathe, whatever business or service that you have as a business owner or an entrepreneur. It's a lifestyle. It's not, you live and breathe it. Your mind is always going, and the creative side, and implementing things and vision. So it's a lifestyle. And so what was being developed in me again is, and I'll say it again, because this is fresh revelation for me, embracing my weakness. I'm talking to myself, embracing my weakness and knowing what to do when my weakness rears its head, and reining it in and knowing what to do, and still being able to say it's okay. However, this is what we are going to do. This is what we're going to do in the midst of that. So that's still being developed, and again, is a lifestyle. The other thing that was being developed in me was self-discovery. One of my mentors, one of his taglines is develop, no, discover, develop, monetize. One of my mentors' taglines on his business logo and on his brand is discover, develop, and monetize. And that was another thing that was being developed in me during my first year in business was I was discovering, I was developing and learning how to monetize. So what do I mean by developing? There are things that I never thought as a business owner, I would enjoy doing. I'm a natural writer. I'm a natural writer. I have journals, and I think I've shared this on past videos that I have. If you have not subscribed to my Dimensional Talent Streams YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and comment. And follow me on all social media platforms, but definitely YouTube, like, subscribe. If you go to some of my YouTube videos, I've shared some of this already, but in greater detail and in a different context. But what do I mean by self-discovery? There were things in business as a new business owner that I never thought I would put my hands on, never would have thought of. And one of those things, as I said, was writing. I'm a natural writer. And one of the opportunities within my business that I have is being able to blog. Well, and copywriting. And because of my natural writing, I, started the copywriting, which I never thought I would do, and blogging, and I absolutely love it. And it kind of surprised me, but when I think about it, it makes sense because I'm a natural writer, and with copywriting, you get to write, you get to be more creative, and the same thing with blogging, you get to write, and so that was an area of my business that I never thought I would touch, and that has turned into ebooks, and it has turned into books, and so much more, and doing my own, it helped me a lot in doing my own advertising and cover photos for various things. And so that's an example of kind of the self-discovery, and developing that day in and day out, and then again being able to take that and monetize it. So that's an example of developing during my first year within business. So because like I said, it was really a year of building and getting structure, getting organized, doing things the right way out of the gate, not taking shortcuts, gleaning and learning different systems and so forth that would be best to implement within my business. The other thing that is so instrumental, and I've touched on this many of times, is the value of having mentors. And I've mentioned this before. I've been graced to have about 5 or 6 mentors in my life that they have their own businesses. Some of them have multiple businesses. Some of them have even online universities. Some of them have their own, they've got their own radio show within their business, and the list goes on. Some of them have had businesses and sold businesses and now are coaching and mentoring other people on how to build their businesses and so forth, and build courses. And so I've been graced and blessed to have that around me, and the value from it has just been so instrumental because it has cut down on time. I can go right to the horse's mouth and get what I need, and the learning curve is so much shorter. And just having that sense of security around me, because they are versed in, taxes, they are versed in real estate, they are versed in investments, the monetary investments. They are, I mean, I cannot say enough about my mentors, and I'm truly humbled by the mentors that I do have. And I know some of you, and I can kind of hear this in the back of my head, well, how did you find mentors? How do you find a mentor? How did you know that that was the right mentor, and da 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 da? And to be honest with you guys, all of these mentors kind of fell in my lap. To be honest with you guys, I researched like a particular area that I was interested in. And then, I found someone in that particular expertise or niche, and I just began to follow them on some of their platforms. And that's how it all began. I began to follow some of them on their platforms. And then I managed to get more information on them, which led to them becoming a mentor. I began to see some of the programs they were offering. I got involved with some of the programs they were offering, and that started. That is how I got some of these mentors, by being involved with some of the programs that they had. But it started off by me researching in a particular area that I was interested in, following them for a season. And until I felt like, okay, it's time for me to find out more. It's time for me to level up and do more with this individual if that opportunity is available, which it was. And then I took advantage of the opportunity by getting involved with some of the goods and services they had. And that's what started the mentorship. Another thing is an email, just an email that I happened to, get from maybe two of those mentors. One of them, the email just kind of resonated with me, and, I followed through on that email, and, here we are, those two people became mentors. And so that's how I found my mentors. And the area, you might be saying, okay, well, what were you researching? What were you looking up? What were you trying to find? And one of the areas that I was doing research on had to involve finances and revenue, in a particular area, for example, real estate. And so I just began to do some research on real estate investing and da 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 da, followed a particular person who happened to be well versed. And not only were they versed in real estate investing, but they were versed in some other areas as well that complement and make sense to me as a business owner. And that's what started that. Another thing I was researching, was investing, and not just particularly within real estate, but some other investments that I won't get into. But there were some other investments that I was interested in, wanted to get more information, educate myself, and then lo and behold, that started a journey. So that kind of gives you an idea on what you can do to try to find mentors. And how did I know when these mentors presented themselves, if they were the right mentor for me? Was I would say, the integrity, because I really looked at what they were offering, what they stood for, what they believed in. I looked at their values, what they were passionate about, and what they were passionate about, was it something that aligned with what I was passionate about? What they stood for and what they believed in, was that something that aligned with what I was passionate about and stood for? Was it a parallel? Did I see their vision, and could I see myself within their vision? And so those are some things that you can kind of grab a hold of to look for when you are trying to find a mentor. And if you find a mentor, is that mentor right for you? The other thing is just the dialogue and the communication that you have with that mentor. And is the dialogue easy? Is it flowing back and forth? Is this mentor accessible? Is this mentor accessible? Can you lay hands on them? And if you can't lay hands on them, can you pick up the phone or at least email them? And will they get back to you right away? Little things like that as well also made the determination for me. And what they present as a whole to the table, that you can actually glean from, and that you can begin to expand and increase and multiply, because you're at that table and you're involved with, you're involved within their lives, they're involved within your lives because of what you're doing. So that is an idea of what to look for, and how do you know if that mentor is the right for you? Because you should be having conversation. You should be having conversation, because a mentor is interested in your future, and an uncommon mentor will require an uncommon mentor. So an uncommon mentor is going to require an uncommon mentor. Um, the instructions that you follow, the instructions that you can follow, is going to determine the future that you create. The instructions that you follow is going to determine the future that you're going to follow. And something in you is going to create anything that you want in your future. So I'm going to repeat that. Something in you is going to create anything that you want in your future. And so there's so much that a mentor brings to the table that you can really glean from, because they really are to challenge you, to stretch you, but to increase you and to multiply you, which is one of the things that my platform tries to direct you in, is directing you in being fruitful and multiplying. So I cannot say enough about mentors. Like, I am truly humbled by the mentors that I have within my life. Um, Let me go back here, going back to what my new is in 2022. Continuing on in that vein, I want to say that collaborations has been very huge for me in 2021. And I want to continue with that in 2022. So it's not really a new per se, but it will be new for 2022 in the sense of what that collaboration is going to look like, and who that person is that I'm collaborating with, and what that other person is bringing to the table that I'm collaborating with. So the collaborations I've done quite a few of them in 2021, had a few of collaborations in 2021, but it's carrying over to 2022. And how it's new in 2022 with the collaboration is with the new individual that I'm collaborating with. Like, for example, and I don't want to give away all the skinny, but I'm going to keep it a little bit raw, right? I'll keep it a little bit raw. One of the collaborations that I have, and it's not finalized yet, but is having my own radio station. And I had the invitation of having my own radio station, I want to say back in maybe 2018, 19, between 2018, 19, I had 2018, I had the opportunity to have my own radio station. And I didn't see it personally for me at the time. I was seeing it for someone else that I was working with, to help them grow, and help them grow and get what they were doing, more eyes on what they were doing, and to level up what they were doing. And so I didn't see it personally for me, but saw it as a way to help somebody else. With that being said, that individual that I helped, we have kind of since moved on. And here we are, and I didn't take advantage of it at that time, because like I said, I didn't see it for myself. I saw it as a way to help somebody else. And so I didn't take advantage of it for me. And as a result, lost that opportunity. But then with one of my other mentors who has his own podcast, it introduced itself again to me, and another individual through a collaboration invited me to be on her radio station permanently and have my own spot twice a week, which is LJDNpodcast.com, which you can find me every Tuesday and Saturday playing all throughout the day. So that is LJDNpodcast.com, playing every Tuesday and Saturday all day, off and on. So podcasting, with the radio, that led into podcasting. I wasn't able to take advantage of it because I lost that opportunity, because I was blind to seeing that opportunity was for me. And hence, but it opened up the door for podcasting. And so now I have podcasting, and now a fresh opportunity is in the works from, I want to say one person to for me to have my own radio station. So that is up and coming, but that came about through a collaboration. And it's a new collaboration because obviously it's a new venue, new topic of the collaboration, which is having my own radio station. So stay tuned for that. That is coming. So I cannot say enough about collaborations and just getting out there, and not so much, yes, we want to be thinking about our businesses and what we do and our goods and services, But getting out there and talking with other business owners and getting involved and seeing what they're doing, what's working for them, what's not, what they have, because you could just have a conversation with another business owner and never thought of a particular idea or concept, or have an intuition. And by just having a conversation, they say something that you could do a collaboration with, and that can open more doors more than anything for you and your business. So I can't say enough about collaboration. So, I can hear I can sense, some of you saying, well, where do I find those collaborations? And who do I know who to collaborate with? And I want to say just be open. Sometimes we're looking for something specific and we can just be so stringent because we have our own idea of what we want, what we're looking for, time frame that you want it. And sometimes it does not happen like that. And if you're a business owner, it does not always happen as smooth as pie like that. So how do who to collaborate with? What collaboration? You don't. You really don't. You are simply coming up. The motive is simply to have conversation, have dialogue, start dialogue. And, as you are having conversation and dialoguing, whether you sense a kindred spirit, whether you sense if that conversation is easy, is flowing, they're listening to you, you're listening to them, they can, what they're saying resonates with you and vice versa. You sense that they value you and you value them, and you're finding, you may sense wisdom or what have you, and there's this mutual thing going on back and forth within the conversation. And so look for that, and that's going to be your determining factor of, is that somebody you can do a collaboration with? That collaboration could be a mentorship, some you mentoring or them mentoring you, vice versa. Again, you don't know the doors that could open because of that mentorship, but that kind of gives you an idea of what to look for, in collaborations. Don't be so stringent, just have a conversation. Where do you have a conversation? See what's going on in your community. You can start there. Chamber of Commerce is a great idea to find out what is going on in your area. Go to some workshops, go to some expos, go to some business conferences that may be in your area. Listen to somebody, who may be doing a business workshop in your area where they're talking on a topic that interests you. Go, learn, hear, meet other people, and begin there. Begin there. And then goal setting, I have on my notes here, goal setting, forecasting leads to opportunities, da, 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 da. Okay, I'll mention goal setting and forecasting leading to opportunity. What do I mean by that with the goal setting is each day as you are looking at what you need to accomplish. And I'll back up and give an example. I have to have a itinerary each day for what I need to do, what I need to accomplish for that given day. And so I have it on a calendar. I have it on a calendar, and I also have it in a little small notebook to it's kind of, a keep me on task type of deal. So that at the end of the day, so at the beginning of the day, when I start my day, I'm not spinning my wheels as to what do I need to get done, because sometimes, we have our busy days, low days, busy times, quiet times, and sometimes you can have a day where you're so overwhelmed that you forgot everything that you needed to get done today and you don't know where to begin. And just the opposite, it could be quiet and you're just like, okay, it's so quiet, I don't even know where to begin. So having that jumping point, having that keeping yourself on task, goal setting of what you need to get done for that day, and and the timelines for accomplishing certain things, that helps me to springboard my day, keep me on task, and I'm not wasting time. And that way, if something else comes up that is me even not on my itinerary, it's okay, because I've got on my schedule those things that need to get done, and I'm prioritized. Basically, I'm prioritized. So at the end of the day, I know that I've had a productive and fruitful day. And at the end of the day, I do the same thing. So, at the end of each day, I look at, okay, what was I able to accomplish today? What was I not able to complete? What do I still have to complete? And what are the deadlines? And that jump starts what I need to complete for the next day or even within that week. And again, how does that lead to opportunity? Because I have on here that's how you forecast. So your goal setting turns into your forecasting. And then I have on here slash leads to opportunity. And what I mean by that is, you know, every phone call, every person that you talk to, you should have in the back of your mindset that that's an opportunity. That is an opportunity. And then lastly, guys, I want to leave you with, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dimensional Talent Streams, like, subscribe, follow, comment. Also, follow me on Instagram, follow me on there, follow me on ljdnpodcast.com every Tuesday, Thursday. And those, and I've got tons of videos in there that complement one another, are talking about business, giving you fresh perspective, showing you how you can be fruitful and multiply, and some of those areas where you need to be fruitful and multiply. Obviously, revenue, finance, huge, because that's the lifeblood of any business, along with being able to get contacts and leads and so forth. So that's going to do it for me today. This is Valerie of Dimension of Talent Streams, redirecting you in being fruitful and multiply. I pray that you got some value today. See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.